One Zambia, one nation. A very good evening and welcome to the main news on ZNBC TV at 19 hours. I'm Jack Mwale and our sign language interpreter this evening is Pastor Johannes. Stories making headlines in the news tonight. President Edgar Lungu advises newly sworn-in clerk of the National Assembly Cecilia Mbewe and Anti-Corruption Commission Director General Zachariah Piri to embrace criticism. Minister of Agriculture Dora Silia says there is a need to invest in agriculture research. The Ministry of Health signs a memorandum of understanding with the Health Profession Council of Zambia and the Zambia Medical Association for the establishment of the College of Medicine and Surgery in Zambia. And top star in Oriental Quarries Boxing Promotions sign a memorandum of understanding to televise live boxing bouts on local channels. And now the news in detail. President Edgar Lungu has advised newly sworn-in clerk of the National Assembly, Cecilia Mbewe, and Anti-Corruption Commission ACC Director General Zachariah Piri to embrace criticism. Speaking during the swearing-in ceremony at State House this morning, the head of state said the two have huge roles to play in serving the public. He said this is why they will be subjected to a lot of criticism. President Lungu has, however, assured them of State House support and noted that he would not interfere in their work. He said he will continue engaging the newly appointed officials when need arises.
Listen to the voice of criticism. If you don't listen, you'll go astray. When people talk about you as the secretary, is it clerk of the National Assembly, or as the man in charge of the fight against corruption, I think, listen. There's no harm in listening to what people are saying against you. Me, I'm criticized on a daily basis, and I take it even the Vice President is criticized. You'll be criticized, you'll be criticized. But I know you're believers like myself. What you should seek is the spirit of discerning, that you're able to appreciate this criticism. Take it upon you. But don't let criticism put you off focus on your calling. Your clerk, your boss in SAC. These are big jobs. They would like to influence you to do the wrong thing. But I will not interfere in your jobs.
And newly appointed ACC Director General Zachariah Piri has called on the public to report corruption allegations to the Commission and not through the media. Mr. Piri also emphasized the need for citizens raising corruption allegations to provide evidence so that it is easy for the Commission to carry out investigations.
One, yes, they are entitled to report to the media, but the same jeopardize our investigation because, you know, corruption issue, it's a complex issue. So when you alert people by going to the media first, you mean them destroying evidence. But what is important is that when you come first to us and later on we have the channels to inform the public through the media.
Meanwhile, President Edgar Lungu has congratulated his Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping on his resounding re-election as Secretary General of the Communist Party of China at the party's 19th National Congress. In his congratulatory message, the president has also hailed Mr. Xi for the successful holding of the 19th National Congress of the Communist Party of China. The president says the re-election of Mr. Xi as Secretary General of the Communist Party of China is an endorsement of the trust the party have in his proven and able leadership, evidenced by his vision of building China as a moderately prosperous modern socialist country by 2020. President Lungu says he has no doubt with Mr. Xi's tested leadership, which is anchored on deep feelings and fight bound to his people, resulting into a people-centered philosophy. The president is confident that Mr. Xi will certainly rally the party and people of China in realizing the Chinese dream of national rejuvenation. He has reassured Mr. Xi of the Zambian government's support and desire to continue building on the existing excellent bilateral relations between Zambia and China for the mutual benefit of the two countries and peoples. This is contained in a statement issued to ZNBC News by Special Assistant to the President for Press and Public Relations, Amos Chanda. Patriotic Front PF Secretary General Davis Mwila has thanked Zambians across the political and religious divide who turned up in their respective areas to celebrate the country's 53rd independence anniversary. Mr. Mwila states that on Independence Day, it is the duty of every citizen to honor the heroes of the country's freedom. He says at 53, there must be no room for politics that seek to divide Zambians on the basis of tribe, religion, gender or social status. Mr. Mwila further says that no Zambian politician should stand on the international platform to speak ill of their country because no one respects a person who paints their country black. The PF Secretary General says the governance profile, has never been any better than it is today, as the fundamentals of the economy are strong, supported by consistent fiscal and monetary policies. This is contained in a statement issued to ZNBC News by PF Media Director Sunday Chanda. Minister of Agriculture Dora Silia says there is need to invest in agricultural research because it is the cornerstone of the agriculture sector. Ms. Silia says agricultural researchers and scientists need to identify solutions to the many challenges affecting the agriculture sector. Officially opening the National Science Conference organized by Agriculture Productivity Program for Southern Africa, APSA, and the Zambia Agricultural Research Institute, ZARI, in Lusaka today, Ms. Silia said research-based information should help farmers get out of poverty. She said scientists provide adequate information and evidence on various agricultural technologies, such as genetic engineering, which has not been well explained. Ms. Silia, however, lamented how low funding to research institutions. She commended the World Bank for the financial support towards agriculture research and urged the other stakeholders to partner with the Ministry of Agriculture and ZARI to offer financial assistance to research activities. The conference is being held under the theme, Enhancing Farmer Productivity through Sustainable and Efficient Agriculture Technologies for Improved Livelihoods. And a related incident, Ms. Silia disclosed that the country will experience another outbreak of 4 army worms.
From you, the scientists. We've been talking about the GMOs and so on, almost in a clouded manner. Let us have the information and the evidence so that we, the politicians, the policymakers, can make the right decisions and not out of fear or emotional blackmailing, isn't it? You have to tell us, where do we stand going forward to reduce hunger in Africa and Zambia with GMOs, for or not, but it should not be a blackmail game.
I expect that we will gain a lot of information on this vital subject. There are many questions to be answered. There are many questions to be asked. And one of the questions might be, are we making full use of the technologies that we have now?
Government has approved the $7 million Kasaba Bay Development Planning Project. Northern Province Minister Brian Munduvile disclosed this when he addressed a special meeting for heads of government departments in Kasama. Details in the following report.
On 21st June 2017, President Edgar Lungu officially launched the 7th National Development Plan with a theme, Accelerating Development Efforts Towards Vision 2030 Without Leaving Anyone Behind. Through the plan, government has set an agenda of creating a diversified and resilient economy by reducing dependence on mining and explore other sectors that promote job creation. A Northern Province Minister says the region will use its comparative advantage in sectors such as agriculture and tourism to spur economic development in line with the plan.
We can only create big numbers in employment in agriculture. As Northern Province, we've looked at the comparative advantages, being arable land and water. So it means that on all fours, the Northern Province is positioned for agriculture where we can create mass employment. We're saying we're going to go big in tourism. And that is almost simple, because nature favors us.
The minister has since highlighted strides being made towards improvement of tourist sites in the province.
We're trying to attract investment in tourism at Kasaba Bay to a different scale. If you look at what is obtaining at Kasaba Bay, off the cuff, I'll tell you that you need about $150 million to come up with an airstrip, come up with basic airport infrastructure and so on. We agreed here to say we're going to start by planning Kasaba Bay. We had an unsolicited bid of $7 million from a company that was invited from Singapore to come and plan Kasaba Bay. And to this end, this particular amount has been approved in the 2018 budget. Ministry of Finance has given Treasury Authority to proceed with the planning of Kasaba Bay.
The efforts being made by government to improve the economic status of Northern Province need the support of all well-meaning partners. Nkweto Mumba for Zanis in Kasama.
Policy Monitoring and Research Center PMRC has called on the government to spread infrastructure development throughout the country. PMRC Executive Director Bernadette Decker says infrastructure development needs to benefit every community in the country. She says the recent seminar, which was hosted by her organization and the Chinese embassy in Zambia, has provided inputs and new insights on how Zambia can realize infrastructure development. Ms. Decker further said one of the key issues raised from the seminar was to improve universal designs when infrastructure is built to ensure they are accessible to people with disabilities. And Ms. Decker has urged the government to increase levels of consultation with professional services on what sort of infrastructure it intends to undertake and then focus on engagement with contractors. She was speaking to ZNBC News in an interview in Lusaka today.
Also tried to bridge this gap so that we can curb the housing deficit problem in our country, especially that we also have a settlement in Kabwe that is second largest in the African region following Soweto of South Africa. So that is a goal that we would like to achieve, to make sure that government is in line with its own policies of trying to keep the problem of people living in slums, and also to make sure that every person has decent shelter and decent housing.
You're watching the main news on ZNBC TV at 19 hours. Time now for our first commercial break. Keep watching. We're back in a moment. Thank you for watching, and now the news continues. The Ministry of Health has signed a memorandum of understanding with the Health Profession Council of Zambia and the Zambia Medical Association for establishment of the College of Medicine and Surgery in Zambia. The MOU will culminate into the training of specialists in various hospitals across the country. Speaking at the signing ceremony, Ministry of Health Permanent Secretary, Health Services, Jabin Mulwanda, said the college will increase the number of specialists in the country. Dr. Mulwanda said specialists are needed in all health sectors to decongest Lusaka and Copperbelt hospitals. He said the ministry is happy that many stakeholders are willing to partner and ensure specialists get quality training locally. Speaking at the same occasion, Zambia Medical Association President Abidan Chansa pledged his association's support in the training of specialists. Meanwhile, Health Profession Council of Zambia Registrar Aaron Mujajati said he is happy that issues of delivering quality training to specialists are being upheld from inception.
As a country, we have started implementing the global strategy on human resource for health, the Workforce 2030, and the recommendations of the United Nations High-Level Commission on Employment and Economic Growth. These two international protocols require Zambia to attain self-sufficiency in human resources for health by 2030. You can already begin to see the importance of this activity we are witnessing today.
The training of specialists in the areas where they are located makes it easier for the trainees and the trainers to conduct this training, because the shifting that is involved when people are moving from one locality to come to Lusaka or the Copper Belt causes a lot of stress and disturbance in service provision. But this innovation will go a long way in trying to mitigate that suffering that our people go through.
Now that the standards have been set and the quality standards have been set by yourselves, ours as a council is to enforce those standards as enshrined in the Act. That said, the council stands ready to support the success of this exercise, having fully participated in inspections to make sure that the sites that are up for this exercise are actually ready.
And the Ministry of Health Permanent Secretary for Administration, Kennedy Malama, says African countries need to reposition themselves in introducing robust and resilient regulations to manage issues of nuclear security. Dr. Malama says Zambia has declared that it will invest heavily in nuclear science and technology and is fully supportive of partnerships from institutions such as the International Atomic Energy Agency, IAEA, for such progress. He was speaking in Livingston when he officiated at the regional training course on the development of regulations to support national nuclear security conducted by the IAEA.
I'm sure it's true for all the countries who are here. If we are going to expedite socio-economic development, it means we need to embrace science and technology. And as we embrace science and technology, it comes with risks. So it's important that our governance structures are robust enough.
Speaking earlier, IAEA Secretary, Division of Nuclear Security, David Latsus, said that the agency has been conducting trainings to different African countries to support development and enhancement of regulatory frameworks on security. Meanwhile, Radiation Protection Authority Executive Director Bosta Siwela said Zambia has moved steps ahead in controlling illicit nuclear materials. Time now for another commercial break, and when we return, do join us for business news. Keep watching.
Now, business news in detail. The Ministry of Finance has released 115 million kwacha to the Food Reserve Agency FRA to facilitate the settlement of payment in the reserve food purchasing chain. A financing plan is underway to release an additional 85 million kwacha in a fortnight. This is according to a statement released to ZNBC News by Ministry of Finance Head of Public Relations, Shileshe Kandeta. A few days ago, the Treasury released 400 million kwacha for the e-voucher and farmer input support program to ensure the smooth management of the affairs of the agriculture input supply management system. And Mr. Kandeta has announced that government has obtained financing of $40 million from Exim Bank of India to be used for agricultural mechanization. In addition, the government is facilitating a $100 million public-private sector investment into a tractor and agricultural equipment assembly plant in the Lusaka South Multi-Facility Economic Zone. In 2018, the government will continue with the implementation of the $50 million Zambia Agriculture Enterprise Development Project. Mr. Kandeta said to support accelerated productivity in the wider agriculture sector, the government will in 2018 also recruit 750 extension service workers for agriculture, fisheries and livestock. He said the efforts are evidently to the government's resolve and firm standing in diversifying the economy through labor-intensive sectors like agriculture. Now, the Center for Environmental Justice says it is engaging government and other stakeholders on tobacco control in the country. Executive Director Boniface Momba says his organization is looking at how best to balance health and economic value of tobacco. Mr. Momba says Zambia is a signatory to the Convention on Tobacco Control. He says tobacco has now become a viable economic earner to farmers who are cultivating it, and that it has created job opportunities for youths. Mr. Momba was speaking at an environmental stakeholders meeting held in Lusaka today. And Parliamentary Committee Chairperson on Agriculture, Land, Fisheries and Livestock, Maxa Singonga, said the meeting has come at the right time. Mr. Ngonga says while health is key, tobacco is an important cash crop.
Are we speaking to ourselves in unison as a country, in terms of where we're trying to go? Because we have signed this treaty that is also communicating otherwise. And however the case, we do not undermine that. If you've seen, we give both sides of the coin, in terms of the economic side and the healthy side. But what is needed is a comprehensive engagement platform that is able to acknowledge and recognize every other partner that is involved. If you look at the FCTC, I think it's very elaborate and very clear in terms of its demand, because those are principles that have been set in terms of how we go forward.
This is a framework on a convention on tobacco control, and therefore we want to basically, see and learn what sort of levels of consultations has been done in the country with several stakeholders. For us, coming from the agricultural sector, farmers of tobacco, merchants of tobacco are all concerned with this convention, because it does, affect, or it does input into the information of how we can regulate or control, the amount of tobacco that we grow and therefore sell.
Now, First Lady Esther Lungu has advised youths to consider venturing into entrepreneurship and not just wait for white-collar jobs. Mrs. Lungu says this year's African Women Entrepreneurship Program AWEP conference in Lusaka will also have a segment meant to promote youth in entrepreneurship. She has told ZNBC News in an interview at State House in Lusaka today that the conference will focus on imparting women with skills in business and also help those in business linkages and synergies. The First Lady, who is AWEP Zambia patron, has since encouraged women in the country to take interest and participate in the conference slated for November 1st, 2017. She said this year's conference, which she will officiate, is under the theme Women Participation in Economic Development.
Those that are already in businesses, it will link them up to partners. It will create synergies for them. It will be a time for them to network and maybe source for markets, both locally, like I said, and internationally. It will also be a time for those that are trying to get into business. They don't know how to go about business. They will come to know. It will be a platform for them to get to know how to get into business and how to maintain their businesses, how they can train and become sustainable business women especially. We are also looking into the youth programs of skills, training.
Well, the Zambia National Broadcasting Corporation ZNBC Creator Studios has started receiving specialized digital migration equipment from Star Times of China. ZNBC Director of Engineering and Technical Services, Malolela Lusambo, received the state-of-the-art equipment, which includes studio cameras and stage scenes, on behalf of management today. Here's a report.
The digital migration project at the Zambia National Broadcasting Corporation, ZNBC Creator Studios, has advanced. The process of refurbishing and installing state-of-the-art equipment is underway and progressing. Television studios are being refurbished and vital equipment for the project has started arriving. The equipment includes chillers, studio cameras, and stage scenes. The installation of the equipment will further improve the picture and sound quality of programming. ZNBC Director of Engineering, Malolela Lusambo, received the equipment on behalf of management.
This is signifying the start of the installation of a major component of what a studio must have, and this is referred to as the studio stage. As you know, you can have a very good camera system, you can have a very good outlook of the studio itself, but if you don't have a proper studio stage, then you are lacking something significant in your production process.
ZNBC management has also dispatched some of its staff to undergo training in China on the handling of the equipment.
As part of the digital migration project, there's been a component for training, and as we speak we have got staff that are in China undergoing training. There are others that recently came from similar training, so that as people begin to use this equipment, there are people that are going to be professional in handling the equipment, and they also utilize it to the fullest, because you don't want to have equipment procured and you are only utilizing a third of that equipment.
And ZNBC Northern Region Controller Annie Mukabe said the arrival and subsequent installation of equipment is a plus for the ZNBC Quito office.
I think it makes us feel excited. This project now is a reality. As you've seen, we are now receiving this equipment officially. There's no turning back, and obviously this will elate even our staff who work in the technical areas, because as you already know, the signal, the audio quality will definitely be good, and what our teams are now planning on is to also improve the content.
Star Times of China are also undertaking the refurbishment of ZNBC studios in Lusaka and Livingstone. Mishek Moyo, ZNBC News in Kitwe.
Well, that's all we had for you on our business segment tonight. Do join us again for more business stories on Friday. Good night.
Good to have you back. Chief Mumena of the Kaonde people of Northwestern Province says the indiscriminate cutting of trees for charcoal burning is alarming. The traditional leader is calling for a stop to the practice in an effort to protect the environment for future generations. The chief was speaking when Transmission Airtel handed over the ecological assessment document for the proposed stocking of wildlife animals in the Royal Mumena Ranch in Solwezi. And Transmission Airtel Director Ben Rostland said the corporate world needs to do more in giving back to communities where they are operating. Meanwhile, Transmission Airtel General Manager Edwin Motokwani noted that wildlife management can be used for both conservation purposes and as a tourist attraction. Earlier, Northwestern Province Permanent Secretary Ephraim Mateo thanked Transmission Airtel for sustaining an active social responsibility program.
Guest of honor, you are well aware, before I address myself to the ecological report, you are aware that the Northwestern Province houses the headwaters of some of our great rivers in this country, such as the Zambezi River. We also host the headwaters of the Kabompo River, which is a big tributary into the Zambezi. We also host the headwaters of the Kafue River to the north of Solwezi, which is called the Luenge in this part of the country.
At site, you have seen our vehicles going around here. So there's up to Shabuma, to Lukulo. I estimate that we have spent around 700,000 kilometers on site. The Earth's circumference around the globe is 40,075 kilometers. If we divide that with our global transport distance, we have the trucks and light vehicles circulated the globe at least 152 times to bring this project to the Northwestern Province.
Topstar and Oriental Quarries Boxing Promotions have signed a memorandum of understanding to televise live boxing bouts on local channels. Topstar Public Relations Manager Mazi Chanda says the MOU is aimed at improving TV content in the country. Chanda says 100,000 kwacha will be spent during the airing of the Oriental bouts in December this year. And Oriental Quarries Boxing Promotions Manager Christopher Malunga said a broader platform for boxing will grow with the sport in the country.
And as Topstar, because we are the public signal distributor, we've been partnering with various TV houses, signals across the country. And it's in this vein that we'll be supporting the promotion of this tournament to be held on the 30th of December. We've partnered with Oriental Quarries, and we shall be providing media support from time to time as we draw up to this event. We will be hosting all media events related to the boxing bout to be held on the 30th of December, of course, as well as engaging with the media. As a public signal distributor, we also will be partnering with other TV stations. ZNBC hold the rights for this boxing bout, but because we are a public distributor, we should be hopeful that we'll be able to televise this bout as well on other platforms.
The good part of this partnership is that it's on a long-term basis, and also it will attract a lot of sponsors to come on board, because once the sponsors pick it that other TV station or radio stations will be given rights to televise the fight instead of only limiting it to ZNBC, I think it will attract a lot of sponsors, and it will reduce. We are going to make sure that it will bring a lot of resources towards the promotion.
This means a lot to us, Oriental Quarries Boxing Promotion, for coming on board, and I will make sure that we put in the best. Come 30th December, we are going to deliver. I can't say much, but just to say thank you very much for coming on board.
Now, Zanaco Football Club has opened a 3-point lead at the summit of the FAS MTN Super League table after they beat Real Nakonde by 2-0 in a Week 25 fixture played today. The Bankers are at 60 points, 3 better than second-placed Green Buffaloes, who drew 0-0 against Lusaka Dynamos. Kabwe Warriors beat City of Lusaka by a 0-0, while Mufulira Wanderers played to a 0-0 draw against Zambia National Service-sponsored side Green Eagles. Nkana beat Nkwazi 2-0 and have moved to 4th position on 55 points. Meanwhile, Zambia Air Force sponsored side Red Arrows beat Konkola Blades 2-1, while Beautycon lost to Nchanga Rangers by a 0-0. Kampala Leopards drew 0-0 against Forest Rangers. Yesterday, 3rd place Zesco United drew 2-0 against Power Dynamos, while Napsa Stars beat Lumana Radiance by a 0-0 in Solwezi. As we end the news, a look at the headlines once again. President Edgar Lungu has advised newly sworn-in Clerk of the National Assembly, Cecilia Mbewe, and Anti-Corruption Commission Director General Zakaria Piri to embrace criticism. Minister of Agriculture Dora Silia says there is a need to invest in agricultural research because it is the cornerstone of the agriculture sector. The Ministry of Health has signed a memorandum of understanding with the Health Profession Council of Zambia and the Zambia Medical Association for establishment of the College of Medicine and Surgery in Zambia. And lastly, Top Star and Oriental Quarries Boxing Promotion have signed a memorandum of understanding to televise live boxing bouts on local channels. The sports item brings us to the end of the main news on ZNBC TV at 19 hours. Be sure to make a date with us again at 22 hours for another bulletin. On behalf of everybody else in the studios, my name is Jack Marley. Thank you for watching and bye for now.